Welcome to the People of Nature podcast, a conservation optimism platform for the unheard India. Today, we have a lady marine biologist with us in the studio, Chinmaya Ghanekar, who is currently working as scientist C with the Wildlife Institute of India. Welcome, Chinmaya, to the People of Nature.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. It is very, very nice to call me on the podcast. And we are meeting after long after my MSc is ended, and I'm really glad that you are hosting this podcast. It's really important for all of us to hear the voices that we not often hear.
Thank you, Chinmaya. So, before we dive in with Chinmaya into the incredible world of marine science, let me introduce her to you all. Chinmaya is a marine biologist and a certified scuba diver with a keen interest in the interdisciplinary approaches to address marine biodiversity conservation issues. Chinmaya has completed her PhD research on ecology of seagrass associated fishes and conservation perspectives of seagrass ecosystems in Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar at WII while holding a master's degree in biodiversity from Pune University. During this time, she was a DST Inspire Fellow. Collaborating with the Campa, the recovery of dugongs and their habitats in India program was initiated concurrently with her PhD. Her research centered primarily on dugong distribution patterns, habitat evaluation, and feeding biology. Her research interests revolve around ecological studies of lesser known marine mammals, including dugongs and humpback whales. Additionally, she is also studying current areas such as blue carbon assessment and the conflict between humans and wildlife in marine environments. So that's Chinmaya for your folks. Welcome Chinmaya once again to the show.
Thank you for that really nice introduction.
So Chinmaya, today's podcast will be all about the blue life on this beautiful blue planet. A blue heart for that. I had my first dive recently in Indonesia, and oh man, what an experience! And Chinmaya, you're doing it on a regular basis. So let us explore your journey and challenges you faced. Our audience is excited to know about what really inspired you to take up marine biology.
So the actually answer is pretty simple because I have grown in Mumbai. So Mumbai being all the Marine Drive and everything, whatever is famous nature parts of Mumbai. But along with that, my native place is in northern Konkan, Maharashtra, which is a tourist place now called Anzarle. I have been visiting that since I was maybe 2 years old, and technically every 6 months we used to visit, and all the summer vacations, most of my summer vacations I have spent there. And my very fortunately my home was just 2 minutes away from the sea, so my parents used to take me to the sea. And so it has created a lot of curiosity about what is beneath that waves, because you keep seeing the waves, you keep experiencing the winds, you see the waves in different months, you see the different colors of the water, and then it really makes you curious that what is in there, what is in that huge expanse. So that curiosity was given by my parents from very early childhood. So that is why I actually got very attracted towards the marine biology. And as far as the wildlife research is concerned, again my parents are only responsible for that, because they used to take us at many national parks, many tiger reserves, and all of those things. And they actually taught us to ask questions, that why is it like that, why a tiger is eating this, why something is looking like this, etc. So that curiosity is also given by them. So I'm extremely fortunate for having both my parents giving me this curiosity about marine and wildlife research.
Wow, that's really nice to know, Chinmaya. So can you tell us about the projects you work on at WI and mainly on your PhD research, as it's fresh from the oven. So we would like to know more about it.
Sure. So I started my journey at Wildlife Institute of India in 2018. I joined as PhD student with the Campa Dugong Recovery Program, as you said in the introduction. And I was always interested in plant animal relationships. So it was like the starting point for me. And seagrasses, I actually was very fresh out from the MSc, so I was very curious in terms of what habitats are there, what we can do new. And then at that time, you have a really curious mind and very brave thing that okay, I'll do whatever that comes my way. It was that attitude, and with that, I just dove into the seagrass habitats. When I was writing my proposal with Dr. Johnson and Dr. Shiv Kumar, they pushed me to look at the fishery aspect of it, and that it was very fascinating because seagrasses specifically, which are angiosperms or flowering plants under water, they're not very popular as the seaweeds or corals, but there are around 15 species in India, and they provide a lot of ecosystem services for all of us, not only people who are living near the coast or people who are fishing in those areas. They are actually great carbon sequesters with phytoplanktons and seaweeds. So we all are getting benefited from seagrasses. So that is, the importance is very clear, and sadly the importance wasn't highlighted that much into the
Right.
policies or conservation perspectives. So that is what my try is from my PhD, to highlight the importance of seagrasses, and specifically talking about fisheries aspect of it, because uh, we know that marine fishes come from open ocean or corals
Yeah.
or rocky habitats. That is what is famous. But there is a whole chunk of marine fishes that come from seagrass meadows as well, which is pretty unknown.
Okay.
That is
Right.
why I got very fascinated,
Right.
and I was looking at how what is the diversity of fishes uh, in
Mhm.
Tamil Nadu. So Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar, Park Bay being the non-protected area and Gulf of Mannar being protected area. Very different seagrass meadows, different species we get, different kind of interactions we get with other habitats. Like Park Bay
Yeah.
is a dominate seagrass dominated habitat. So you find other habitats very less, like a rocky or sandy habitats. But Gulf of Mannar, as you say,
Mhm.
it's pretty much like those Discovery Channel diving sites where you
Oh,
have huge corals and then you have small
right.
seagrasses nearby them.
Okay.
So it's a vastly different habitat. So it was
Right.
very interesting to see the diversity that is changing with changing habitats, and then how those fishes are using seagrass meadows. There was very
Right.
interesting hypothesis that I came across while doing my literature review, was nursery hypothesis. So that is
Okay.
still famous with mangroves and estuaries, but
Mhm.
in India at least it is not well known for seagrasses. So what happens
Okay.
is the bigger fishes, which are popularly known as say coral associated or open ocean fishes,
Mhm.
they come to seagrass meadow for spawning. They lay
Oh,
the eggs. The fish fries grow up in the seagrass meadows, so they are sheltered. They are well fed in
mhm.
the seagrass meadows, like how kids go to nursery and in a safe environment.
Right.
That's how the fish fries also come to the nursery. They are in a safe environment. They grow up and then they go back to their respective habitats. That is why it's called nursery hypothesis. So we are also trying to look at them if this phenomenon is happening in the Park Bay Gulf of Mannar seagrass meadows. So
Wow.
that were two major research aspects of my PhD. The third aspect was to look at how much people are dependent on seagrass meadows, because if we want to
Okay.
change the perspective, then we have to understand how much is the dependence. So in
Yeah.
terms of monetary issues, in terms of
Mhm.
ecosystem services, how people are dependent, and when
Yeah.
there is dependency, there are also threats. So we also looked at the threats posed by different fishing practices. So that is
Yeah.
my kind of brief overview of PhD. But along
Okay.
with that, because I was associated with Campa Dugong
Yeah.
recovery program, I'm still associated with it. But as my role has changed and I'm the supervisor, one of the
Mhm.
supervisors of the project, and
Yeah.
in that we were looking, we have three field sites, the three Dugong
Mhm.
ranging states. One is Gujarat, one is Tamil
Okay.
Nadu, and one is Andhra Pradesh.
Right.
So that we are looking at the dugong distribution, their feeding patterns, their threats, and also we have a huge part of community outreach and capacity building,
Mhm.
because without communities, it's very very difficult to have marine mammal research. We are having, say, a
Correct.
team of 15-20 people who cannot go to the sea every day and look at the animals every day and make observations.
Yeah.
Have to be people who are more frequent seafarers. They have more observations, they have more understanding, they have traditional knowledge about the animals. So
Yeah. Yeah.
getting that and understanding more of the population was very important, and that's why community is a huge part of that project. So I worked on
Mhm.
all those objectives as well.
Wow.
So
So
that
that's amazing. I mean, you just explained so many things. Perhaps you did in 5 years of time in just even less than 5 minutes. So I think that's an amazing, amazing piece of work that you are putting it together.
actually,
And since we are talking about dugongs, we earlier we had another podcast speaker who also did a similar work. But I see that here you are looking at three different locations. So can you tell us more about what is your research on dugongs? Tell you about threats that they face in the ocean.
yeah, I guess you're talking about Miss Prachi Hatkar, who is also
Yes,
part of the team, and we have
yes,
worked
yes.
together. So, as dugongs are concerned, or any marine mammals concerned, it's
Mhm.
very established a fact that they have to come to the surface for breathing. They have lungs. So
Right.
while they come up on surface for breathing, if the surface is not clear, you imagine a road packed with traffic, and you have to
Mhm.
come up on the road with your small little scooty or just a walk and navigate through that. It's the
Yeah.
situation for all the marine mammals out there,
Mhm.
because there is so much fishing pressure in certain parts of the country
Oh,
that they have to navigate through it constantly.
correct.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it is directly related to our demands of the food
Mhm.
as a
Yes.
country. So the fishing cannot be reduced, but there is a lot of traffic. The oceans are
Mhm.
getting empty. So when they come up on surface and they have to navigate through that boat traffic, there is a high chance that they get dashed onto the boat and can have lethal
Oh,
injuries. That is one part. The second
okay.
part is the nets that are kilometers long altogether, or the fishing hooks that are put very extensively.
Mhm.
The mammals, or even turtles for that matter, they get
Yeah.
trapped into those nets, and they can get
Yes.
cuts if they can die if they are
Mhm.
not rescued many of the time. So these are major and direct fishing conflicts that happen all across the world, and India is no different in terms of
Mhm.
that. The other parts, other I would say problems in certain parts of the country. It's not everywhere, but there are still some communities who hunt these mammals for different reasons. Maybe for food,
Right.
maybe for oils. All of those
Okay.
reasons still exist in smaller parts, but they are still there. So they cannot be
Mhm.
ignored. The direct killing is still happening. Though the Wildlife Protection Act is in place, there are
Mhm.
illegal activities that keep happening. So
Right.
that is something we have to tackle in different parts of the range states, because it's not everywhere. That
Right.
is other part. And the larger larger problems that we already have identified, like pollution, which is
Mhm.
a threat to technically each and everybody on the planet. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
there is no escape from that. So for dugongs, what happens is there is this plastic pollution is can be a major problem, is what our speculation is, because
Mhm.
there are so many dugong deaths that have happened in Tamil Nadu, and we have
Okay.
retrieved the gut content from it. And when we analyzed the gut content, we found plastic threads in it, the net filament,
Oh,
or
I see.
some parts of the boats that is there. So it is going, the plastic is going and settling in seagrass meadows, and that is getting
Mhm.
ingested by dugongs
Right.
directly. So
Right.
there is a
Right.
high possibility that is also getting ingested by, say, turtles or other kinds of fishes or smaller invertebrates also. So that is a
Right.
huge problem. Heavy metal pollution is also a very
Yeah.
recognized problem, and heavy metals like mercury go and settle in the tissues of the mammals, and they try to, I mean, the system
Mm.
starts failing. Like we have
Right.
these heart failure or kidney failure in humans, the similar things also happen in marine mammals. So these are wide range of threats that we are facing right now.
Right. So, I mean, as you mentioned, this fishing pressure looks sounds very intense actually, on dugongs. The way you narrated it, I can imagine like what must be happening to these mammals, when they come out, come on the surface of the sea, and they're just stuck there. So, I can really imagine that.
Not only
Just
this,
terrible, right?
yeah, it also happens with dolphins, whales,
Mm.
turtles, all the
Yes.
marine megafauna that is there who have to
Right.
come on the surface for breathing. They all face this problem. The
Yeah.
bycatch is
Okay.
a major issue. So we actually uh, focus for say fishing catch, which is our primary catch, but then
Mm.
bycatch, which means that it's not our targeted catch, but they still come in the net because they are in the vicinity of
Right.
that. That is called bycatch, and that is mostly thrown out into the sea. So there are many kinds of bycatch that comes like sea cucumber, which is a protected species
Mm.
under wildlife
Right.
protection. There's a huge load of sea cucumbers that come with the fishing nets, and they are just thrown out back into the water, and they
Oh.
form a lot of just debris. So
Mm.
bycatch also is a huge problem, and in those same things, the marine mammals and turtles also get caught. And it is very important for the people who are seafarers to understand that we have to rescue these animals. Otherwise, already the populations are worldwide dwindling, and if we
Yeah.
kill day by day animals like that, then the oceans are going to be empty very soon.
True. 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 I mean, it's really scary.
Yes.
Wow. So much of information about these marine mammals, and we don't know about it. But moving ahead, so Chinmaya, you are in a new role now at WI. So, what are your important research focus areas, and how do you plan to shape up your lab at WI?
Okay, well, that's a little difficult question because there are a lot of things to figure out on the way. Because I consider myself very lucky to get this position uh, as a scientist at WI, and it's a huge opportunity. And I
Yeah.
completely understand the responsibility of being in a national institute and creating your own space. So
Yeah.
one part is I want to dedicate my career to marine biology. It is
Mhm.
what is my personal goal.
Right.
But I mean, with marine biology research, I'm very interested in marine mammals and habitat ecology. These are the two
Mhm.
things I'm interested in core research. So I want to expand my research to also corals and seaweeds and rocky
Mhm.
habitats, intertidal habitats. I want to expand that, but I'm still working on it. And being a pretty new scientist, things are taking time right now.
Right.
That is one. The second thing is because WI being also a very important training institutions for the
Yeah.
forest department or other
Yes.
stakeholders, say like revenue department.
Right.
uh, I think it's a very important area for us
Mhm.
to train people in this regard, because as you said, many of
Mhm.
this information is not very well there
Yeah.
out, and people don't
Correct.
know about it. So the forest official who are technically safeguarding our oceans, they also need to know these things and how to conduct surveys, what are the immediate problems, what are the long term issues, and how to mitigate them. So
Yeah.
these are some areas I want to train people personally, and
Mhm.
it's very important. The third thing is I want to do is writing policy documents,
Mhm.
because I, as a very my personal opinion is that if you keep doing research on your own, you keep publishing papers, and then nothing
Mhm.
happens on ground, it's waste. You are doing a lot of groundwork, but there is no scientific background to it. It is waste, and if it is not reflecting in policy, it cannot work isolatedly. Basically, every
Yes.
the
Yes. True.
research, the grassroots level work, and the policies should work hand in hand to actually have some conservation impacts. So that is why
Exactly.
I want to have a little offshoot in all three areas. And
Mhm.
fortunately, Kappa Dugong had given me this opportunity and still giving me this opportunity to work. So policy
Right.
documents, which I already have a little experience in writing
Mhm.
management plans for protected areas. So I want to
Mhm.
expand my expertise into that. These are three
Wow.
things. And
No,
one
I
great
think
opportunity Wildlife Institute provides me is to teach master students of wildlife
yes.
sciences. And one new course that we are coming up with is freshwater ecology and conservation. So it will
Wow,
be a
nice.
great opportunity to talk about some unknown or very less known habitats and species, and create awareness and curiosity to ask more and more questions through the students.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, indeed, that's a specialized course, and I think more and more students will be inclined towards these kind of courses in coming few years. So
Yes,
it's very much needed, actually. So my next question was actually in line with your teaching part, and let me appreciate that you have already sort of laid down your path, being a scientist now. And I
thank
think
you.
this is a really good thing to do because now you know where you are heading towards and what exactly you want to do to create your space and to create your expertise. So that's a fantastic thing to do, Chinmaya. So once again, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So
And it's great coming from you because you have been my teacher in my masters, and like hearing this from my teacher means a lot.
oh man. Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
So, so teacher. So let's talk about teaching. Now you are also teaching. I am also going to be. I am also teaching. Students.
Yeah.
So your work at WI also involves teaching ecology to master students.
Yes.
So also in service forest officials, as you just mentioned, and various stakeholders.
Yes.
So how has this experience been so far?
Oh, absolutely wonderful. I mean, I, as you can already see, I love talking about my work,
Yeah.
and I keep talking wherever I get chance. So the lectures
Mhm.
is something. I think it's not only about me talking about my work, but it is also me developing new understanding about my own field. Because for preparing, say, a lecture of 1 hour, you have to prepare 3 days or sometimes 3 weeks ago also, and read
Yeah.
whatever is updated material, whatever are updated technology, some new definitions have come in, something like that. So you keep updating yourself for
Yeah.
delivering those lectures. So it is very important to keep reading, and I guess teaching gives me that very focused time to sit and read in all the other things that are happening, because there are a lot of other works also, lab work and
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
institutional responsibilities. But teaching gives me a focused time to read and update myself. Is I'm extremely fortunate for that, because otherwise, if we are not updated, we will be thrown out of the scene very quickly. So that is something. And the MSc students, which are right now
Mhm.
20 age, they have everything. They keep reading and they come up with certain questions you don't even know about. For
Yeah.
example, someone asked me that, do you know you're doing this whole community work? How much it is impacting the community, or how do you measure the impacts?
Right.
And I'm like, there are sociological methods for that, but we haven't deployed it. So now I
Mhm.
have to go back and read that what
Yeah.
can we do. So this is a new thing that I have also learned through this question. So I find it extremely uh, intriguing, the teaching part. And
Right.
with the various stakeholders, for example, revenue department,
Mhm.
because they deal with a lot of illegal trade kind of things.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
teach them to identify which are the species which are legal for trade or illegal for trade, how to identify them. We train them in all of that.
Yeah.
So they have their own perspective of things. Because they do not come from any wildlife background, they have
Mhm.
completely different set of questions which you do not anticipate being in the wildlife circle. They
Right.
So we were talking about dugongs, and somebody
Mhm.
told, "Oh, dugong looks like a dolphin," and like, no,
Mhm.
dugong doesn't look like a dolphin, because I never saw dugong as a dolphin.
Yeah.
And then I went back and then I compared to pictures, and like, oh, yeah, it might look like a dolphin in certain places. So
Yeah.
it is a very different world to explain.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think when you explain things to somebody who is absolutely clueless about what you are doing, you explain things in much simpler manner, and that also sorts you out. So that
Hmm.
is very important, I feel, and this is my learning journey till now, and I'm still learning. There are many, many things I'm reading. Like for the freshwater ecology, I am completely new and I'm starting to study
Mhm.
that now. It's a completely new
Yeah.
world that is opening up.
Yeah. Yeah, so teaching is a constant feedback, and of course, you learn more and more as you engage more and more. That's what we say
Yes,
about it. So it's a really good experience. You can it keeps you updated, and you can grow faster than otherwise you would. So
definitely.
great, Chinmaya. So you are also teaching now. So you must be also engaged a lot with the students and all. And I can
Yeah.
see that with your whatever you are saying now. So let's keep teaching and your new position aside. You are a researcher and you have published so many papers in marine conservation. So you must be having some favorite paper, right? So which of these would you say give you the most satisfaction?
Uh, okay. I want to be frank, and research papers do not give me satisfaction. They do not. I mean, uh, there are data collection, forming
Mhm.
questions, doing statistical analysis excites me completely, and I do it like crazy, devoted time. But when it comes to writing, it's dreadful. I mean, I hated it at start. Now I'm getting used to it slowly and steadily. But yeah, so it's. I mean, I wouldn't say a research paper was favorite, but most intriguing work that I did was the dugong cut content, and it was a huge learning curve because
Okay.
uh, actually it wasn't say part of my work initially, and
Mhm.
when I actually started leading the team in Tamil Nadu, the field team, I had to
Mhm.
encounter the dead dugongs. I had to go with the
Okay.
forest department, check the body, how was it, what is the body
Oh.
condition, what if there are any marks, how to identify
Mhm.
those marks,
Mhm.
how to infer the age or maybe cause of death sometimes,
Okay.
collection of cutting the whole animal. So I learned all
Mhm.
these things on field, and it is an extremely important skill for any sample collector. I would say that you
Right.
I uh, actually got to learn all of this from people who were doing necropsies from long time, and they taught me
Oh.
really well how to cut open an animal, what signs to look for. It was a completely different thing, and I learned it slowly. uh, Fortunately or unfortunately, I saw many dead dugongs, around 40 dead dugongs
Oh.
personally, and attended
Wow.
these necropsies. And the we also conducted a workshop for forest official
Mhm.
and forest veterinarians to
Mhm.
handle marine mammals
Right.
training, live and dead. And at that time, I like we encountered a dead dugong just 3 days before the workshop, and we could
Oh.
preserve the whole animal for the workshop to
Wow.
show what is it exactly. So it was a
Mhm.
different thing. And in the gut content analysis, the paper of which is published, that we saw different species that the dugong was preferring in the area. Our old
Okay.
understanding of dugong preferring only two species, named
Mhm.
Halophila and Halodul, was kind of scraped because of it, because it was also eating other two species which were
Oh.
not that popular as dugong food. That
Wow.
was there. Then we also got to know about the plastic ingestion. So it's a
Mhm.
learning curve that I enjoyed with that
Mhm.
paper specifically.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that must be a really difficult experience as such because you have been seeing so many of your favorite animals dead and you're
Yeah.
working on their bodies. Yeah, it must be really.
Initially, it's very difficult as a
Yeah.
emotional human being to see that animal dead in front of you, and now you
Mhm.
have to collect data out of it. It feels
Yeah.
cruel. It does feel cruel. but by the end of it you understand the importance, because
Yes.
it's a very important mean to collect data. Dead
Right.
animals give you whole lot of information about the population, like if
Yeah.
there are any infections, if how the animals are getting dead, in which month they are most findings are
Mhm.
happening. So we are
Right.
getting to understand how the population is moving, in which part
Right.
they are the most. So it also is a opportunity to understand your animal more and more.
Yeah. Yeah. True. 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 Wow. So many things we learned from you, Chinmaya, today.
Thank you.
But let me ask you this question: that marine biology is known to be a male-dominated research field. So, what gender-based challenges have you faced working in the marine conservation field?
Hmm. I can. This is a, I would say, very. Uh, it's a tricky question, and the answer has to be given very, very responsibly.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
marine research itself is a very challenging field for
Yes.
anybody, no matter gender, no matter age. It's extremely difficult for anybody.
Yeah.
But as a female researcher, we face in field work specifically, because we have to
Mhm.
be in the field for long hours, real long hours, 10 hours, 12 hours,
Oh.
at a constant time, every day sometimes, even if it's
Mhm.
harsh sun out there, you are just there and
Yes.
working. If even if there is some bad weather, high winds, you sometimes try to go and sample. All of that
Yeah.
happens. So at that time, looking at your health, especially in terms of the menstrual health,
Yes.
it becomes very difficult. Also, we
Mhm.
use the boats which do not have washrooms. So you have
Oh.
to get into the water, relieve yourself, and come back. All of that
Right.
becomes really painful when you are on your periods. And every
Yes.
female researcher, no matter uh, where the field is, marine, mountains, anything, they face this problem
Same. Yeah.
every day.
Challenges.
Even when we go to rural areas, having
Mhm.
cleaner sanitary environments is a very difficult part. The people who are working
Yeah.
in parts like Andaman and Nicobar, it's absent there. At least in Tamil
Mhm.
Nadu, where I worked, there was some sanitary facilities, though not that clean. So you just refuse to use that sometimes.
Mhm.
So you have to adopt yourself with your own techniques to keep yourself
Yeah.
okay, basically.
Mhm.
So that is something we do not understand, and it is also taken very lightly. Is what is the bigger problem, I feel, because
Mhm.
these problems are not discussed with, say, your institute, that on field we are getting this problem. Then they will be
Yeah.
like, okay, this happens here, because it's a major social issue. No one
Mhm.
institute can give answer to it. So this is very difficult for any field female researcher,
Mhm.
that happens.
Yeah.
Second part is when we go to areas, because I worked in Tamil Nadu and I only can speak
Mhm.
for that region. Uh,
Mhm.
I faced sometimes, not major chunk of times, but sometimes that bias towards male colleague. If my male colleague is standing, they'll keep talking to him and they refuse to listen.
Oh, I see. I see.
And
Of course.
sometimes I have to shout that, okay, I am the boss here. Sorry, you have to listen to me. I had done that, and
Right.
I it feels very bad at that time, because
Mm.
taking stand is something not does not come in my nature that easily. So
Mhm.
it was difficult, but it's needed. That is so. Those
Yeah.
kind of biases are still there. uh,
Mhm.
Thankfully, in the institute itself, it's a very gender neutral environment,
Mhm.
and I personally haven't faced anything as
Mhm.
gender bias, which is a very fortunate thing as an institute. But I'm sure there are people out there who must be facing very difficult
Yeah.
issues, and I do not want to demean them by any means. But these issues need to be spoken about, is what I feel, because not everybody and irrespective of gender, sometimes not everybody is that bold that they'll come out and say that, okay, I have this problem and you need to sort it out. people just go into their own shell and never talk about it, which
Mm.
can have
Yeah.
long-term implications, and it's very harmful in that sense. So talking about problems is a redressal thing which everybody should, uh, every institution, every maybe government, not
Yeah.
government, whatever, they have to have this mechanism of talking things out.
Right. Yeah, true, very true. In fact, what you just mentioned, I think most of our podcast speakers mentioned similar problems. And of course, they also have their own solution, as you just mentioned. But despite all these challenges, you are doing fantastic work, Chinmaya. So,
Thank you.
congratulations for that. And marine biology itself, as you mentioned, is a difficult domain, to go into and work in it. And so long hours and working in remote areas without much help is really challenging, but you are still doing it. So we all greatly appreciate you and people like you who are working in the field of conservation. Now, with that, let me come to the last question of this podcast.
Okay.
And this is the most interesting question which I find for all the podcast speakers. So, would you like to share any message with special reference to marine conservation to our audience?
Okay. Special message is, I actually want to give this message to the people who have opportunity to shape the next generation. Maybe
Mhm.
teachers, maybe parents, or people who are having these companies who do summer camp kind of things. The people who
Right.
actually can show different aspects of the world to the smaller
Mhm.
kids. It's for them specifically that please show them the marine world, because even if it's difficult, there are now lot many opportunities to see it in terms of say aquariums, in terms of
Yeah.
snorkeling. There is something called as a junior diving course, which can be done from 10 years of the age. So to just understand how beautiful that is. I know Discovery gives you a lot of idea about how beautiful that is, but you mentioned that you saw it in Maldives, right, or Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah, you know the experience, and that
Yes.
experiencing that water around your body is something just uh, I can't put that into the
Yes.
words. And if kids experience that feeling, it's highly likely that they will try to do something for the ocean, because they understand the
Mhm.
importance of that feeling. They
Yeah.
understand how beautiful that is and how important that is. So, people who have opportunity to show the kids marine world, please do it and proactively do it. Don't shy away from it. Even if your marine environment is, say, not very beautiful, clear water like
Mhm.
Andaman or Lakshadweep, even if it's murky waters like Mumbai, it has dolphins. Go out,
Yes.
show them the dolphins, show how they uh, like surface, how they jump out of the water. It's just beautiful of an experience to see. So I think that is very important. And second thing is, whenever you are going out, or whenever you are, there's a lot of people go to these fun. Goa is the most important marine place uh, that people go to. And I have seen conditions of Goa very recently. From January, I have been continuously visiting for a project, and it's horrible. I would. There is no other word but horrible. There are speakers there in the turtle nesting beaches. There are lights, and people are just stomping everywhere without realizing that it's also habitat for something else. So just this realization or this awareness is something very important about the world, and looking beyond yourself and your enjoyment and your relaxation might mean a lot for the marine environment. That is what I want to tell.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Chinmaya, for that detailed message. So you are saying for parents, for individuals, go out there, explore yourself, experience it, then only understand
Yes.
the value of it, and
Yeah.
perhaps that will change the way you think about marine life. So
Actually,
thanks a lot,
going
Chinmaya.
back to your first question about my what inspiration, when I
Yeah.
was maybe fourth or fifth standard, I don't remember
Mhm.
exactly. My mother gifted me this Finding Nemo CD on my
Yeah.
birthday, and
Yeah.
I have watched that movie like maybe 120, 130 times by now. I still watch it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I still
Amazing.
watch it and I love it equally. So, and that movie is so scientifically accurate also, now that I
Yes. Yes.
understand it. It that movie also gave me a lot of inspiration to
Yeah.
see what is there. So please let your kids watch also movies that might
Yeah.
change some.
Everyone knows Finding Nemo. Everyone
Yes,
knows. They just have to watch their own Nemo and
yes,
do whatever.
definitely.
So thanks a lot, Chinmaya, for being with us on this podcast. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Pankaj. It has been really wonderful talking with you after a long time and talking about the work. And thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity.